Hey guys, welcome back to the blog. My name is Annette. I'm here to talk about everything recovery, and this week we are going to jump into the importance of having a warm-up. This is something that we overlook far too often, and it is such a crucial part of your recovery that I was feeling like this is something that we got to talk about. So stay tuned and let's get into it. So welcome back, guys. I wanted to talk about the importance of a warm-up in your recovery scheme because I feel like it's something that we just overlook and we never talk about. So I want this space to be a place that we cover all of our bases and we really get into what makes for sustainable recovery and what makes for effective recovery. So let's jump in. These are going to be my top 3 things that you can do to make your recovery and your warm-up effective. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is making your warm-up part of your routine, making it part of your actual fitness regimen. When you do that, it's no longer something that you are like adding or something that's taking away from the time that you already don't have. It's something that you've already thought about, and it's something that's already going to fit within your schedule. This way it's not rushed, it's not an afterthought. It makes sense. It's something that you can just throw in and go. Carve out 5 to 10 minutes within your fitness plan to move, to stretch, to breathe, to warm up your muscles properly. And notice I said 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be a super long time. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to get done. So I'm going to challenge you to do this for a week. Try it. Put that warm up in at the beginning of your fitness and see how you feel at the end of the week, as opposed to doing without. And then the next thing that you can do is move in all 3 planes of motion. A lot of times when you have a workout, like say you're going to work on doing your arms or you're going to do like upper body workout, we'll tend to just warm up those areas, which is good, but it's not great. What's great is to do the entire body. I want you to move rotation. I want you to move forward and back, some lunge sequences. I want you to move through some side to side, some lateral movement. When you move in all 3 planes of motion, you cover all of your bases and it can't hurt, right? So the idea is that you're preparing yourself for anything. It's also really important to understand that none of the things that you do within your fitness practice are isolated. Even though you're doing maybe a dumbbell row, space for a minute, even though you're doing a dumbbell row, there are other things working there. You're still stabilizing through your abdominals. You're still working the upper back. You're working through the entire shoulder girdle. There are other things at play. So at no point do you just want to warm up what you think you're going to be moving, because everything is connected. Everything works together. So do a total body scan. Do all 3 planes of motion, but at the same time, you want to make it simple. I also want to point out that we consistently play to what we're strongest at. So when you start to move the body within all 3 planes of motion and you're kind of warming the entire thing up, you understand where you're tight, where you're sore, what's a little bit weaker than the other muscles or the other areas of the body. It highlights where you're restricting your movement. When we only move in ways that we like, or ways that we feel good, or ways that are only going to pertain to the things that we think we're going to be working, we miss out on other areas that need our attention. So when we move every way in every direction, we not only cover our bases, we highlight the things that need our attention. So super important that you make this something that is 360. The last thing that I want to say is that you want to make sure that your warm-up is simple. There's really no need for it to be fancy. Nobody is recording this. Nobody is going to document your warm-up. This is for you. It's something that you should be able to repeat. It should be something that is really easy for you to understand so that you can do it over and over again. it has to be something that you're going to actually do. If it's something super complicated that borders on choreography, you're not going to remember it, and therefore you're not going to do it, and therefore it's not sustainable. I tend to do a gentle flow before I start any kind of fitness. I keep it really simple. I do a standard sun A and then a standard sun C to wake up my hips. I don't deviate from that very much, and sometimes I'll do some standing poses with like a standard sun B, which is just a warrior 2 or warrior 1 with chaturangas and things of that nature. If you are still struggling with what kind of warm-up you can do, I'm gonna put a warm-up at the end of this video that you can access and use whenever you want. You can also mix and match and make it your own. Again, it has to be something that feels good to you and something that you can repeat and something that's going to be sustainable. And then after I do a gentle flow, I usually do 3 exercises. Again, really simple, nothing complicated. That's going to target glute activation, abdominal core strength, and then something that's going to elevate my heart rate. So I don't do that with a lot of weight because, again, you're warming up. You don't need to go to 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. You need to build it up. If you are over the age of 12, give yourself some time to warm up. When we warm up, we create better blood flow to our muscles. We lower the risk of injury. We increase our ability for flexibility. We prepare ourselves to move in such a way that's going to be efficient and such a way that's going to feel good. At the end of the day, you want to feel good. There's absolutely no point in doing all of this to feel like crap. So you want to prepare yourself, you want to warm yourself up, you want to prevent the risk of injury as best as possible. And the reason that I'm targeting glutes, core, and cardio, because these are the main movers. Your glute activation is so crucial to you warming the body up for any kind of major movement. Your core is what connects everything. You want to be ready to go so that you don't throw out your lower back or do anything that's going to be damaging or that's going to prevent you from your performance. So now we're going to jump into a warm-up, a little bit of a flow, and then a few exercises that you can do on your own before you do any kind of total body movement or any kind of fitness. These exercises and this flow should be a fantastic add to your fitness. For your warm-up, I tend to start in something that's pretty gentle. So here we're on our hands and knees, moving through some cat-cows. Just starting to create some extension and length on the front and the back of your torso. With your hands shoulder-width apart, you'll press back into downward facing dog. This is a great opportunity to start to stretch out through the back side of the body. Just make sure that you spread the fingers and press evenly through both of your hands. That's just a way to avoid straining through your shoulders. And step to the top of your space ragdoll, fold in half. From here, just let go of the work. You want your torso to be heavy as you shift the weight from side to side and front to back within your feet. And then I typically move through some half sun salutations. And by saying half, it just means that we take out the chaturangas and the down dogs. This becomes a much more gentle flow because you're just starting to work through your hamstrings. You're starting to kind of feel what's happening within your body for that day. Now, I'll typically do anywhere from 3 to 5 rounds of half sun salutations. This is also a great opportunity and a great time to start to connect your breath with the flow of your movement so that you start to come into that moving meditation. And then you'll step the feet together as we start to move into a variation of a sun C. So any kind of kneeling warm-up where you can start to open the front of the hip and start to check in with how that whole hip complex is really feeling for the day. So here we add that warrior 1, again, just getting into the front of the left hip. And then a little bit of rotation through your spine. And then it's always really good to get your hamstrings. So it's not really complicated. If you notice, that was just basically 3 different poses strung together. You don't want to make it anywhere more than 5 poses. Once you start to move past 5, then it starts to float into that space that's somewhat like choreography. And again, that's not something that you want. You want it to be really, really simple, something that flows smoothly, and something that starts to open up, not just the front, but the back and the sides of the hips. So you want that 360 kind of perspective of opening up through the body. And so I will typically do 1 round fairly slow so that I can kind of get into the movements. And then I'll do 2 rounds that are going 1 breath to each movement. And you start to move yourself into some kind of standing poses here. Just feeling things out. Now your body's a little bit more warm. You can start to sit in some of these poses and really start to get that activation through your legs, through your glutes, and through your abdominals. That whole center is fired up. So I'll hold each of these poses anywhere from 3 to 5 cycles of breath. This is sped up a little bit just so that we can kind of fit it in so that you can see what a warm-up could look like. But you can go as slow as you need to. Again, this is your time. I don't know, maybe just because I've gotten older, I'm not really in a rush to get to the heavy lifting. I like to take my time here and allow myself to warm up. So if you know that you're kind of short on time, maybe you shift some other things around, or you prioritize your fitness, your well-being, by maybe waking up a little bit earlier or rescheduling something else for another time. And this is just one way to warm up. This is just how I like to warm up. You can always add or subtract whatever poses you want. And then after I've done the warm up, I do about 3 different exercises. One that will target glute activation. So here we have a goblet squat where I'm sitting down at the bottom and you do a little bit of movement side to side. This one is fantastic for kind of getting into those hips and starting to wake everything up through the lower half. And I'll typically do anywhere from 6 to 8 of these squats. Making sure that I press through my heels and squeeze my glutes at the top. But again, take your time here. At the bottom, you're prying those knees out. And then I'll move into something that wakes up my core. So everything through the center of the body here. These are dead bugs. I'm extending one leg at a time as I take the weight overhead. You want to really press down through your tailbone so that you keep that integration of all of the abdominal muscles and all those muscles through the trunk. So all of them are working to make you or keep you stable. This is hands down my favorite quote unquote core exercise. And I'll do about 12 reps or about 30 to 45 seconds of work. And then the last one we have here is a single leg bridge march. And this is great again, just for waking everything up through the midline. So you're getting a little bit of hamstrings, you're getting a little bit of glutes, as well as that whole abdominal engagement. And then I like to finish with a bridge hold, just to press into those feet and start to stretch out the front lines of my body. So those are some exercises that you can do to throw at the beginning of your workout. I know we talked about cardio, so you can also do that as well. But these are typically my go-tos for getting everything warmed up before a total body movement. That was a flow that you can do, and that was some exercises that you can incorporate into your fitness. If you are still struggling to kind of figure out what you can do and how you can incorporate these things on a regular basis, we have classes every week. We have a Tuesday yoga for lower back pain, and then on Thursdays we have yoga for hips and shoulders, where we focus on glutes as well. So join us. We would love to have you. And if you can't make those times, which are 6:30 in the morning Central Standard Time, I send out a recording of all of the classes right after they premiere. And those are available for a week. So you've got no excuse. And if you're still not quite sure, we have a 7-day challenge that you can check out. If you just click the link below this video, 7-day yoga challenge. See where you're at, see what you need to do, what you need to focus on, and let's get moving. All right, until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. My name's Annette, and this is The Athlete Practice. Bye, guys.